morning and welcome to the NBA Daily presented by Amazon Prime. I'm Dave DuFour here with Es Baraheni. Coming up, bunch of upsets. The Thunder lose again. What the heck is going on? And we're going to talk to James Edwards about the Knicks getting dusted by the Pistons. Good morning, everybody. What's up, S?
What's up, Dave, man? What a night in the NBA. Weird night in the NBA.
Yeah, crazy Monday night. You know, we're at that weird time of the season where it feels like all these injuries have popped up. I mean, we'll get to the Nuggets in a minute because how about the zombie Nuggets last night? But I think we got to start with those upstart, scrappy Charlotte Hornets. What? 124-97. That was the final score. What? That is not, I didn't have a typo in my notes today. 124-97. The Hornets beat the Thunder last night. And honestly, the truth is the Hornets, it's one of those things, right? Make or miss league. Oh, yeah. And they made everything. LaMelo Ball had a couple of ridiculous shots. I mean, this one where he's like falling out of bounds. I don't know. It's hard to lose.
Brandon Miller was 7 of 10 from 3. Yeah. It felt like he could make anything he wanted to. The rim was this size. You know, I don't know if you can listen to me, but massive, like an ocean. 50% from 3. That's what the Hornets shot tonight. So, yes, it is a make or miss league. The Thunder are now 6-6 in their last 12, which, you know, will have some people ringing the alarm bells. I feel like this is pretty good for them, though.
Yeah.
Adversity.
Pretty good? I don't know about that because scoring 97 points against the Hornets is bad. All right?
No, I agree.
Straight up. Even though, and we'll give them the schedule thing, okay? Like maybe this is a schedule loss. Second night of a back-to-back. They had to travel back to OKC after losing on a buzzer beater to Devin Booker. You know,
look, it was a comeback too. Like they collapsed in that fourth quarter. So that is part of this whole situation. And I don't think anybody on the Thunder is going to give themselves any excuses either. This is a championship organization for a reason. But I think the fact that they are struggling right now is a good sign for June, just because, I mean, if I had to spin it that way,
maybe. Yeah.
It's good to get punched in the mouth every now and then. You know what I mean?
37% from the field night, 28% from 3 as the team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 7 of 21. 1 of 6 from 3, 21 points. So the 20-point game streak continues. The march toward Wilt is still on. But again, they lose back-to-back games. They're now 30-7. Okay, this is not like a team that's unraveling, but we are watching them get to the harder part of their schedule. You know, we talked about how soft the schedule was to start, and they hammered the soft start, right? Like they got this huge head start on the rest of the field. I do believe that there is some more juice to squeeze, and it's going to come in the half-court offense. And I think you got to start with Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams has not really been good. He's had a couple of good games here and there. But until he has consistent, just until you can rely on him to consistently score next to Shai, it's going to be tougher on Shai. Yeah. 16 points in the game, 6 of 14 from the field. Just didn't feel him as much as, we're used to feeling J-Dub.
Look, so much of what OKC wants in the half court is either SGA driving the basketball or Jalen Williams driving the basketball. And I don't think the drives have been there as much for J-Dub. Of course, because the three-point shot hasn't been there for him with that wrist injury. And so you look at a team that is struggling to create advantages as much as they have. And truthfully, like if there was one area to nitpick about this team is that in the half court, other than SGA, they can become a little bit predictable. And so when opposing teams are giving you their number one, hey, we are gearing up everything we have towards the defending champions, it's a little bit different compared to when you're catching teams off guard. That's why it's so hard to repeat in this league, because the scout is out, right? Everybody knows, hey, it's going to be an SGA drive to the basket. He's going to try to get into that mid-range area and then create from there. Or Jalen Williams is going to attack a closeout and try to barrel his way to the basket, create an advantage that way. They have to add another wrinkle to their game. And truthfully, to me, it's like Chet Holmgren. I think that's the guy that needs to take an offensive step for him. He's looked good this season. I think he's had moments where he's showed off his off the bounce game, but they just need him to become, in my opinion, like a third shot creator for them.
Right.
And if that doesn't happen, then you need to find diversity in your offense that I don't think the Thunder have right now.
Yeah, the shooting is something we're going to pay attention to all year long. Okay, the zombie Nuggets.
Yep.
No Jokic, he's out for at least a month. No Cam Johnson, also out at least a month. No Jonas Valanciunas coming off the bench. No Aaron Gordon, no Christian Brown. They're out for rest, injury rest. Jamal Murray just out because, hey, why not? Everybody else is. And somehow the Nuggets still win the game as Bruce Brown wins the game on a
goaltending.
Let's say goaltend at the end of overtime. Look, it's a crazy game. I don't even know what you say outside of how dare you jinx the Sixers the way that you did on the show yesterday. I mean,
I'm so sorry.
29 points for Jalen Pickett on 7 of 11 from 3. Peyton Watson had 24. I mean, this is the sort of game I think when we get to March, April, and we're saying, hey, maybe the Nuggets can sneak a game of rest for Jokic, or maybe they can sneak Jamal Murray. I'm going to look at this game. I'll say, hey, they definitely can. The Nuggets, all of a sudden, they have so many guys this year, man.
Yeah. Can we do the blessing in disguise thing for the Nuggets injuries?
We can't do that. Yes, it's a blessing that
Nikola Jokic is going to be out for a month. No, it's not going to be a blessing. But look, like Zeke Naji had a great game tonight. He was awesome defensively. You talked about Jalen Pickett, who carved up the Sixers.
Destroyed them.
This was also a game where they had clutch performance from VJ Edgecombe, who hit massive shots, blocked a couple of really good opportunities in that fourth quarter. Paul George had a great block in that fourth quarter too. Tyrese Maxey had a great game. Joel Embiid had a great game. This was like the Sixers full on. They tried in this game, and the Nuggets came in and stole it. Again, a very bizarre night in the NBA when you look at these box scores in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't weird though to see Kevin Durant hit a game-winning 3 for the Rockets. The Suns were about to just have a back-to-back win streak with the Thunder and the Rockets, and KD, what he was able to do, I think, in the fourth quarter for them. I mean, they found out earlier in the day that Alperen Şengün is going to miss a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And to win a game against a good Suns team on the first night that you're missing, one of your better players, I think that's pretty big.
Yeah, I think, look, if there's one team that can, I mean, look, you miss Şengün, you're going to miss an all-star caliber player, but they have the depth in the front court to not miss him as an offensive rebounder, as a defensive rebounder, as a guy just in general who can protect the rim for them. They have Steven Adams. They have Clint Capella behind him. So I don't think they're going to miss his size as much as they are going to miss his fourth quarter creation and shot making. And you saw it tonight. Kevin Durant took 21 shots and was 9 of 21. He made them when it mattered, but over the next couple of weeks, there's just going to be so much more pressure on KD to be their sole shot creator. I'm curious to see if they'll give more usage to Amen Thompson to create a little bit more off the bounce, maybe more opportunities for Reed Shepherd. But you're now in the lulls of January where, like you said, injuries are going to play a factor here. How are you going to just grind out the next 2 weeks before you get fully healthy?
Yeah, the weight of the schedule definitely is on top of him. Should say that Alperen Şengün, he sprained his ankle in the game the other night, and they're going to reevaluate in about 2 weeks. We also, at some point, we owe some time to the Phoenix Suns. Like, they've been a really good story. Again, Devin Booker had that game winner the other night. Had another big game in this one, including another clutch fourth quarter run to get the Suns into the game. They went on a 10-0 run to get the game close there at the end.
Yeah, Jordan Ott, very good coach. He's getting the most out of his players. That's absolutely true.
I mean, sometimes these guys, they seem to get hot as a team. I don't know if you've noticed this, but it does seem like their shooting is very contagious, and it can come and go. But when they're hot, they're as hot as anybody.
Look, all I was going to say about the Suns is you get development from Colin Gillespie. You get the defensive infrastructure of Dylan Brooks. I think those are the things that they're working with over the course of the season that are allowing them to punch above weight. You might look at this roster and say, hey, they might not be the most talented in the Western Conference, but the reason they're in that 6-7 range is because they're getting outlier development from some of their cool guys. So that's all I was going to say about the Suns.
Yeah. Speaking of hot, the Clippers almost dropped the game against the Warriors like it was hot.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah. 103-102. The Clippers held on against the Warriors in a game that, honestly, like the Clippers, I felt like they should have had in hand. Steph Curry hit a couple of late threes as he's,
got fouled out, though.
And then he fouled out before he had a shot at taking the last attempt there, which Jimmy Butler did not get a good look. Didn't even hit rim as time expired.
Yeah.
Steve Kerr was ejected from this game. Steph Curry, like I said, fouled out of this game. And somehow the Warriors were in it. And I still haven't figured it out. I mean, the turnovers, 18 steals for the Warriors.
Yeah.
They took 15 extra shots. And they
I'm
lost
not
the game by
surprised
one.
because you know who the Clippers were missing? They were missing James Harden. And when the Clippers are missing James Harden, they have no other reliable point guard. And so a lot of it was, Kawhi Leonard, who had 5 turnovers tonight. Basically, every single player on the Clippers roster had at least 1 turnover tonight. Yeah. And you look at that playmaking, they're missing someone to be able to create a shot for them outside of Kawhi. They got this win, though. Kobe Sanders was great in this game. He knocked down a bunch of huge shots, especially in that third quarter. I think overall for the Warriors, it's like when Steph goes down or when Steph is not available like he was late in that fourth quarter, who is going to get a shot for you? You know who they needed? They needed Norm Powell.
They did. They needed anyone.
Anybody to create a shot.
You and I we were watching that last possession, and during the timeout, I was trying to guess who are they going to play for? Yeah. Because Jimmy Butler definitely didn't want to take the shot for sure. And I don't understand, putting him in the position where his back's to the basket and he's in the corner with one of the best defenders one-on-one. Yeah. Like if you just need one possession, sure. The Clippers have a lot of guys that could do that.
Yeah.
Run a play. And maybe it should have just been someone heading toward the basket. We never even get here, if Zubac isn't guarding Draymond Green 30 feet from the basket for some reason and allowing a layup. I mean, again, the end of that game was silly. And I got to say, one of the reasons why it was extra silly, it was Snoop Dogg on the broadcast.
Incredible. I loved it.
It was something. It was entertaining.
It was what you would expect Snoop Dogg would be on a broadcast, right? Yeah. He was jumping in. He wasn't allowing the play-by-play guy to really cook in any sort of way. He was kind of acting like the play-by-play guy and the color commentator at the same time.
Look, I wanted to hate it.
You can't hate Snoop Dogg.
There was like an uncle vibe there that won me over a little bit. I don't want this all the time. Please don't give me this all the time. But it wasn't bad. I mean, it was.
You don't want Snoop Dogg in the NBA Finals?
I will say this. He made a few good points. Number one, I did love how his energy. He was celebrating quite a bit, which is fun.
Yeah.
But he made some good points about the refereeing and the continuation and how it's hard when you're just watching as a fan to know what continuation is anymore. And I think, look, if they want to have Snoop on to talk about some of the finer points of the rules of basketball, and that's the lane he's going to be in, great. I would love to get the fan perspective from Snoop.
Why not?
But it was a lot of talking on the broadcast.
I loved it. You know what? I'm not mad at it. I would like to see more Snoop Dogg.
I think Reggie Miller sounded like he was having a fun time. It made it. Honestly, it made it fun.
It brought a little bit of character to Reggie, who can sometimes be a little bit stale. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Where's Trae Young going?
Oh, good question. I'm glad you asked. Speaking of, we'll tease this for tomorrow. We got Josh Robbins coming on. We're going to talk a little Wizards, but we're definitely going to talk about Trae.
I will say, I was at the Raptors game.
Could January 6th be the day that Trae goes to the Capitol?
It's possible. It's possible.
I think that the rumor mill is heating up.
Yes.
We'll see how the day plays out.
When I was at the game today, there was a funny moment where the game is about to start. Trae Young walks out. The Hawks front office is there, and he just walks right by them and starts warming up. Trae Young is not supposed to play in this game, but he starts warming up for about 30 seconds and then just disappears to the back of the locker room. I don't know. That felt like a saying goodbye to your teammates type of moment, but
did you get a photo or a video of that by any chance?
Yes, you can go on the Athletic NBA Dailies.
Yeah, that's right. Go and check out the NBA Daily on Instagram or YouTube. Put the videos up there. Again, we'll have Josh on tomorrow's show, so we'll dig into the Trae rumors. And to be honest, look, I can see the fit. If you believe in what the Wizards are building defensively, which it hasn't shown yet because they've been pretty awful defensively this year. They're down in the bottom third or bottom three of the NBA in defense. But if you believe in what the ceiling looks like, and let's not forget, this team is not going to be good right away just because they add Trae Young. But it is a little bit interesting to think about him with Sarr and some of these other guys. I mean, I think Trae and Trae Johnson, that's kind of interesting just from an offensive perspective.
They really need offensive organization. I've talked about how Keyshawn George has basically gotten a bunch of pick and roll reps this season, but that's for a reason. They don't have anybody that's able to organize offense for them consistently. If there's one thing Trae Young can do is be a playmaker. And so how can he facilitate the growth of some of these young guys? Again, if he gets traded to Washington, It seems like that might be the case. The one thing I would say is they need a better screener, because if there's one thing Alex Sarr is a good screener.
They don't have anybody who can run pick and roll with him. And that's actually one of the things when I think about Trae and some of the places like Toronto, for instance, when we heard that rumor, who is he going to run pick and roll with? I mean, Jakob Poeltl,
come on.
Sure. Yeah. And he's fantastic.
Assist,
elite. Him and Derek White back in the day were great.
That's right.
But it's not 2017 or whenever that was, it's been a long time for Poeltl. And so the fit makes sense. I actually think that this trade in particular, if it wounds up happening, you look at the Wizards, they've got CJ McCollum's expiring. He can go come off the bench for Atlanta, but also, maybe this gives them even more assets if they want to go out and get a guy. You can't aggregate him, but they could maybe flip him and get more guys.
Look, I will say, I think despite the fact that the Hawks have played better basketball without Trae, their ceiling is not what it is if Trae Young gets traded. And so I think this is a clear moment where they are picking to think about the long term. They obviously have that Pelicans pick where they can prioritize the draft a little bit more, maybe develop Risache a little bit more, give him more opportunities, Jalen Johnson on the ball. I think if the Hawks do end up trading Trae, which seems likely at this point, it's to shift into a new direction and probably not be a play-in team, which the plan is going to change in the Eastern Conference, Dave. It's going to change.
Year. Well, I guess this year, maybe if they miss the plan.
If they back out,
Yeah. All right, guys, stick around. I got James Edwards after the break. We talked about that Pistons beatdown on the Knicks, and he's talking about Cade as MVP. We've got like 10 guys in the MVP race. Kind of awesome. On yesterday's show, we did kind of a deep dive on the current conditions of the Eastern Conference playoff race. And then we got a big matchup, the James Edwards Derby between the Pistons and the Knicks. And our man James Edwards was there. The Knicks did not show up, though. It was a blowout, 121-90. The Pistons just absolutely dominated the Knicks in the game. Okay, what happened? The Knicks just can't rebound. They can't defend. They couldn't score. Are the Pistons just that much better than the Knicks right now?
It felt like to me that was a team that had 6 months to brew over what happened in last year's playoffs against a team that had so much more happen after that series that they didn't take it with the same urgency and seriousness that the team that they played against did, right? Like the Pistons have been waiting to get their hands on the Knicks since that series, which if people forget, 5 of the 6 games were decided by 6 points or less. Like it was a tremendous series, right? But listen, there's been like this narrative out there that the Pistons are eventually going to fall off. Man, defense travels, and this team, no matter who you put out there, defends. Like you could say what you want about Duncan Robinson. He's out there competing, right? And then he has Isaiah Stewart, and they didn't have Jalen Duren on Monday night, but he has those guys behind him. Like this is a team that is as physical as any team in the NBA. They've turned that corner where they're getting that reputation, and the refs, even I don't think they foul a ton, but even if they do, like they've gotten that reputation, right? Yeah. And the Knicks are just Carl said, I said, what's it like keeping something like this? It's January, 4-game losing streak. You guys are in a funk. How do you keep this in perspective? He's like, a funk is cool. Ups and downs happen. This time right now is bad. And it's not just defense, it's offense. 90 points tonight, 99 points against the Hawks in the loss the other day. Things are not good in New York right now. And it's highlighted by the Pistons.
42 of the 90 points were Jalen Brunson and Miles McBride. Yeah. Karl Anthony Towns took 4 shots. OG Anunoby took 3 shots. That's not good. That's not good process, period. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns is your second best offensive player for sure, and should be your second most important player on your team. And to take 4 shots, I mean, that's a disinterest. Yeah, no, it certainly felt like they just, like you said, kind of, they just didn't show up. I thought Jalen and Deuce and Clarkson too. Like I want to give Clarkson credit. Like
he came in and he really kind of allowed the first quarter not to be as ugly as it felt like it was going to be. They came ready to play. And this group they just seem to, I don't know if it's the cup tiredness or what. They are like, they're not an old team, but they're older. That's not the type of team you want to play when you're in a funk and you're sluggish and you've had the type of schedule and stuff that they had. And I mean, the credit to Detroit, the Pistons played Sunday, right? Like they had a back-to-back and still did this. So if we had questions about who the best team in the East is, the Pistons answered that, right? And
I see somebody was listening to the pod yesterday.
Yeah, and if you're a Knicks fan and you've questioned Josh Hart's importance, things have gone south since he got injured. And this game could have used Josh Hart. They could have used his rebounding. They could have used his pace. They could have used his ball handling and playmaking. You could say that about a lot of the games that they've lost recently. So, the Knicks, this is no excuse. Pistons had players out, had 2 starters out. The Knicks had a starter out. This was one team ready to play and one team not.
What's the latest with Josh Hart? Like, how much longer is he expected to miss? Because again, I mean, they need everybody on this team, and he might be the second most important guy.
He's had a great year. He's continuing to rebound how he always has. He's one of the guys that pushes the pace on this team, and he's actually shooting his best year from 3 since his rookie year. Josh has had a great season. Even defensively, I think he stepped it up this year. So do I think he fixes everything that's wrong with this team right now? I don't, but I think he brings like that it factor or just that extra juice that this team could use right now. So we went on a trip last week and we came back. We thought he would play. They would look at it a week. And then we got back and they said he'll be reevaluated in another week. So the Knicks go home for 1 game and then they have a 6-day trip out west that starts in Phoenix on Thursday.
I want to swing it to the Pistons. I'm assuming you feel like they're the best team in the East right now.
I mean, listen, I think you have to say that, right? Like they have 9 losses at damn near halfway point of the season. They defend at a level that is, it's fascinating to watch. They have an MVP caliber player. They have a culture. Like this isn't, you talk about maybe 15 games in and they have a hot start. Like we're almost at game 41.
Yeah.
And they just know who they are. Part of the reason that game is so close early on is they don't shoot a lot of threes. So you feel like you can hang around, right? And then eventually that defense wears on you. Did they finish with 50 points in the paint? I know they had 44 like in the third quarter. I just think they're the one team that knows, not the one team, but they know who they are.
52 points in the paint.
Yeah, 52. They know who they are. They execute it every single night for the most part. Boston's been playing great. I think Boston technically has been like the best team in the East since like mid-November.
That point differential, I keep pointing to it. I mean,
But I think until shown otherwise, like the Pistons have beaten the Knicks, they've beaten the Celtics, they've beaten the Rockets. This isn't a team that's just like playing the Wizards 5 times every night or 5 times a week. Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about Cade because he had 29, 13 assists, 11 of 17 from the field. And, the shooting was the thing, right? Like if that shooting was going to come around, we knew that he was going to be this level of defender. The playmaking we saw initially, but the shooting, I mean, I think you look at him putting up this sort of an efficient night. So what did you think about the MVP chance that he was getting out there? I mean, it feels like a little bit of like targeted at Jalen Brunson to a certain degree, but also, I mean, the guy is putting up this sort of season that, he's at least going to be on the ballot, I think, at this point.
Oh, of course. I mean, Cade, Detroit, the city of Detroit loves the Pistons. And they love them so much that when they're bad, they really like to hate them. And it pains their soul that they were bad, right? So now that things have turned and he's been the face of it, like this city is totally behind him. The MVP chants are like, I try to watch as much of the league as I can, and I've watched the Pistons. You hear those through the TV often. I mean, the guy just plays the game so unbothered. Like you could, no matter what defender is in front of him, like it's almost like he doesn't feel him, right? He gets his teammates involved. He defends. That's the thing people don't talk about. Like Cade, part of why Detroit is so good is because their best player defends. He's just had a tremendous season, him and Brunson both. And Cade's ability, though, to really just like play at his own pace and everybody just adapt to that, knowing that he's going to make the right read has really been tremendous. And then one thing that takes like teams over the top, and one thing Detroit didn't do during my 7 years covering, they're like unearthing guys, right? Like Dennis Jenkins, who has been one of the best two-way stories in quite some time. Like he's had 30-point games. I think he scored
a 20-point quarter on Sunday
against Cleveland. I mean, sticking like Isaiah Stewart, if he doesn't make one of the, for sure, probably should make first team all defense. Like that guy is, nobody can get anything on him at the rim. Durant has really improved. Like to see this team of Ausar Thompson, this team has grown together, right? And all they've done is just insert capable veteran here, insert capable veteran there. But it's those guys that they drafted that have been here from the beginning, that know what they want to be about, that have taken this thing over the top. And Cade and Isaiah Stewart have been the snakes have been the head of that snake.
They also added JB Bickerstaff as coach, and this is a perfect segue. If you guys listening, if you watched the broadcast last night, they mentioned James Edwards wrote a story about Mike Brown babysitting JB Bickerstaff as a kid, which is, number one, tells you just how long Mike Brown's been around. But number two, that's hilarious. How'd you find this out, man? What a funny little wrinkle. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of that in the NBA, right? Everybody's kids are always around.
100%. Yeah, I mean, listen, I still have relationships with people in Detroit, and they're like, "Hey, this is a story that I think you would do really well." And I heard about it a few months ago, and was saving it for obviously their first meeting today. But yeah, I got to talk to Mike about it in San Antonio. He loves JB. He continues to say he should be the coach of the year. And I got to talk to JB about it in Detroit on Saturday, and he was raving about Mike and just how important he was to him and as he grew up, because like he treated him he didn't treat him like a kid or like a burden,
right?
And really showed him his way. So, two coaches who, I don't want to say they've gotten the short end of the stick in their careers. Like, I don't think that's fair to say, but two coaches who I think have done a little bit more than maybe they get talked about, right? Like,
right.
JB in Cleveland, he turned that around after LeBron left. And listen, Kenny's a great coach, but they haven't done anything beyond what JB did since he left, right? Mike, San Antonio, or Sacramento, they'd probably love to have Mike back right now, right?
That's right, yeah.
He had to coach LeBron and Kobe. Like, that's not easy stuff to do. And these are two guys that are always talked about in high regard across the league. And yeah, it's awesome that I was able to write that story and that they were both so willing to share all their history together. Yeah,
there's usually a reason when coaches do hang around, and continue to get head coaching opportunities. You're either good or you're really been around a long time, and usually those guys are pretty good. So anyway, if you guys, if you didn't have a chance to read it, go and read that story. It's it's one of the fun things about sports, especially the NBA, is like just all the interpersonal relationships and how they seem to come back a lot. So anyway, all right, guys, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks to James Edwards for hanging out with me. Thanks for Es Baraheni. As always, I'm Dave DuFour, and this has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for waking up with us.